Welcome to Woodland Chapel, Center for Spiritual Living. Why, uh, I've had a little work done. Is it that obvious?
A little bit.
Well, no, but my date probably is in a sack behind here with another face on it, but I don't want, it might be too scary. What I love about Woodland Chapel is that we accept all creatures, people with into our hearts with love, correct? Well, okay. My name is Shannon Preem. I'll be your sidekick this morning, but I'm going to undo my thing, just because I don't want to scare anybody. Are there any children? On my hair, how's my hair? Is it okay? Did I ruin my hair?
What a transformation.
Yeah. This is the real me. Oh, okay. I was inspired by our topic today. What can I say? So that's why I talked to my dermatologist earlier this week. So you are in for a wonderful morning. I am so excited we get to hear from Cheryl today. This is her first full-length feature with the chapel, and she's wonderful. I talked to her briefly. I'll tell you a little bit more when we introduce her. But first of all, thank you for making it today, and I'm so blessed, all of us are blessed to hear Ari's beautiful music and her beautiful voice later, right? Oh, wonderful. You could not be in a better place at a better time, no matter who you are, who you're with, or where you are on your journey, if it's a spiritual journey, a physical journey, or just hitting the road. Thank you for making it. And thank you, Cheryl, for your beautiful, other Cheryl, for your meditation, your quiet time this morning. So are there any people here for the first time today? Oh, good. So I didn't embarrass myself in front of strangers. That's really...
This is my first time here today.
Okay, that's right. Neil would always have something so zen to say. Thank you. So we have a wonderful library. Of course, I'm talking to the choir here, so make sure that you always explore some wonderful books. Announcements, we have, next week, it's different in your program. It's a change. Reverend Don will be taking Julie Applegate's place, and his topic will be Standing on Truth. No soapboxes, just truth. And please, if you walked from the bottom today, did you smell the wonderful smells? We have Potluck Sunday today. Even if you forgot, I know there are 2 lasagnas and a bunch of fried chicken, so we're good. Our next Soup for the Soul fundraiser will be July 16. That's always following the morning service. And even if you don't make it, come for soup. It's a wonderful, amazing deal for just $3. It's chaired by Sandy, Megan. I don't know if Sandy, are you here today? But Satya is very helpful too. We will need some help for cleanup if you can spare some time. Also, speaking of time, we really need volunteers for the fellowship, especially if you have your 4th Sundays free. We need to organize our hospitality so that every week we have something planned. So you can see Cheryl Ostrander about that if you're willing to help. And all of us can help you find out where things are. You don't have to bring everything. We can all pitch in. So if you feel like you would rather just organize things but you don't have the means to help provide some foods, talk to us. We'll always help you with that. Okay. We next have a special treat. It is our congregational song.
If you would like to stand or can stand and sing with me, I'd love it. This is called Wave After Wave by Charlie Thweet. Wave after wave after wave after wave after wave is breaking down the wall. Wave after wave after wave after wave after wave is breaking down the walls. I'm lost in useless patterns that seem so comfortable, and things that used to work are now unbearable. Wave after wave after wave after wave after wave is breaking down the walls. Wave after wave after wave after wave after wave is breaking down the wall. Your love is like a garden that you keep offering. You wrap me in that fragrance, and I keep opening. Oh, wave after wave after wave after wave after wave is breaking down the walls. Wave after wave after wave after wave after wave, I'm letting down the walls. I'm letting down the walls. I'm letting down the walls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Who is doing our invocation this morning? Thank you, Ruth. Oh. Are you coming this way? Oh, no. I made a mess. I'll show you a mess. You just wait. Just okay. You just wait. Okay.
See,
Here's my date to the prom. I'm going to be my own date. Here we go. This is, okay.
That's the mess. Wait a minute. It's still
Okay.
a mess.
How's this? Oh, I'm in backwards. I'm backwards. I tried, I rehearsed this, but this is why I didn't start with this one.
That's okay. You're
So-
not oh, there she is.
This was going to be,
Yes.
do you like my new look? Okay, now that I've ruined the moment for Ruth, we'll just,
Well, I think we can probably all forget that side. Just concentrate over here. I'm not going to put a mask on. I put this on this morning, so it's going to stay for the day. So if you'll join me in quietness, in love, in spiritual activation. God is all there is, and all there is God, and God is good, and love follows everywhere. And so I know that today, here, we all have the love, we all have the Spirit, we all know the way, and we are so blessed to all be together and to have such great leadership. And I know that everyone has come open and accepting, and I am thankful for all of you, each and every one, for our speaker, for our leader, and I know that all is well, and the words that I have spoken into the law of love are already answered. And so it is. Now, if I don't fall down, I'll be all right. Thank you. If you'll join me in the affirmation, let's speak it together. I see beyond conditions to the truth. Now I'm guided by the one power to live beyond the limits of fear and fulfill my divine purpose. And so it is. Thank you. I know I forgot something.
Thank you, Ruth. I think you brought us back to a centered space of... I am so honored to introduce John Eels and Fahita for our inspirational reading.
Good morning, Woodland Chaplains. The reading this morning is somewhat unique because it spells out an actual technique for dealing with things from our past that may be troubling us. We start out with a quote from Deepak Chopra. Denial is when you ignore the shadow. Disaster is when you totally surrender to it. The author of today's reading starts out, sometimes to find the way to move forward, my ideas of myself and life forward, and therefore to move conditions forward, it can help to look to my past. When did I first have this thought? Who taught me to think this way? What was the first condition that showed up causing me to draw this conclusion about myself or life? These vital questions help me see the first building block of my structure devoted to this topic or area of my life. It is a structure that defines my conditioned, continual thinking and decision-making. It can be subtle and normal. I can defend it aggressively, even when it does not serve. Such building block thinking becomes a part of who I think I am, my identity. Sometimes. To challenge it can feel like I am literally challenging who I think I am. Yet this can be the precise work that helps me evolve my experience. It is never about making myself or others wrong in this work. It is about discerning the patterns that no longer serve and releasing them. Many of us, this is painfully obvious concept. Yet knowing how this works and actually doing the work are two completely different things. The work is about discovering the sponsoring thought and then letting it go by choosing a new idea and by forgiving anyone who was involved in sharing their idea of life with us, which does not serve us anymore. And we have an affirmation, of course, and it's actually relevant to this topic. My willingness to discover any and all key ideas that have affected me in a negative way is profound. I surrender any sponsoring thought for my greater good.
Raise your hand if you think John should record audiobooks. Yes. I could listen to your voice forever, John. Well, maybe not forever, but forever and a day. How about that? Next, Ari, what have you got in store for us?
Well, I'm going to play a song that I wrote. It's called
Yay!
Only I. Thank you. Oh my goodness. What is that? I'm so caught up. Okay. The path is long, but I am calm. Only I can hold out hope. The road it winds, I realize. Only I can keep the faith. I close my eyes and listen. Only I can hear inside. When I stop and listen, I always hear I am enough. When it all gets hard and it's lost its charm, only I can bring the joy. In the hardest times, I come to find only I can shine my light. I close my eyes and listen. Thank you very much.
Ari, where did you come from? You were a poet and a songstress. It's amazing. We were so lucky. Are we lucky? Yes. This is amazing. I wish everybody will hear you someday, but stick with us. I am happy to introduce our featured speaker. Cheryl wakes up unreasonably happy every day. Is that true? So I have no idea, but I'm sure it has something to do with the word reason. Anyway, she lives in McMinnville. She joined us about a year ago. In fact, I think yesterday was your first anniversary. Happy Woodland Day. She joined religious science in October of 2007 and remembers it very well. Maybe you'll tell us about that? If not, I will. But I just remember you went with a friend to a service, and the service wasn't for the friend, but something clicked with you.
Yes.
And ever since then, she's been our Cheryl, different Cheryl. Anybody, it was it. That was what helped her on her new path. She was in Palm Desert. Is that correct? Where you were?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Palm Desert's where I went to the CSL in Palm Desert the first time and
Yeah, and
changed my life.
And she was raised in the Assembly of God Christian Church. So that was the past. That's all I'll say. So welcome, Cheryl. Can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Yes, of course. Thank you. So this is not a title I came up with by myself. It is what was recommended by CSL that is to be spoken about today, but all I think I took away from the original text was the name, Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc., yes. So first of all, I'd like to just welcome everybody to this 4th of July that's coming up, that Independence Day, that day when we have people that are still fighting wars and still protecting our freedom, and just to acknowledge all of the soldiers, all of the people that have made it possible for us to be here in this center right now, in this moment, because we have the freedom of religion. We have the freedom of speech. We have the freedom to decide how to live our lives in this country, to a point, but to a good point. But I'm just so grateful for everyone that's gone before me that has made it possible for us to be here today, and I'd just like to applaud them. To my topic, monsters. I just want to ask you a question, and just think about this during the time that I'm doing this talk. Do you have a monster? A monster can appear in your life in all different types of ways. And I just want you to think about, do you actually have a monster? Because we create our own monsters. That's the truth of it. We have volition. We have the choice of how we live our lives and how we're going to present ourselves in life. So are you presenting yourself with a monster hanging on your back? Or are you presenting yourself free of those thoughts that drive you to believe that there's something that's holding you back? So a lot of us, just keep our monster because the monster we know is less scary than the monster we don't. So we know how to deal with our own monster, maybe not anyone else's, but we do know that. So how do we create a monster in our life? We start with our beliefs. Your belief, whatever it is, all those beliefs that you have within you will allow you to create a great monster for yourself. It can be a really scary one, or it can be just a monster that keeps you back or makes you feel less than or makes you think that you are less than when there's no reality in that. So to change a belief, you have to take it out and play with it. You have to take it out and look at it and see, is this really what I believe? Or is this something I've been told, something the society believes, or something that I learned as a child? Whatever it is, Stranger danger. Remember that? Always be afraid of strangers. Run from strangers. I was taught that from the time I was in 3rd grade, I think. Just strangers are bad. Run for them. Oh, but did anybody have the boogeyman? Don't stay out too late at night because there's a boogeyman out there and he'll get you, so you'd be running home as fast as you could so you wouldn't be caught by the boogeyman. So, yeah, well, I had a monster in my closet, so does that count? No. But we create these monsters for irrational fear, and it's all driven by a fear. If you stop and look at your monster, the one I asked you to think about, it was created from a fear, from an experience maybe that you had that was not so pleasant, so now you completely avoid a situation because it reminds you of that experience. But one of the things that creates a monster is the inability to forgive. When you can forgive, whatever it was, no matter how horrific, no matter how awful it was, when you can just go in your heart and forgive and forgive and forgive until it no longer has that power over you any longer. Because that's what a monster is. It's like an emotional vampire. It's zapping your energy. It's taking away from who you are. So that's why it's so important to look at your beliefs. Make sure they're your own. They're really your belief, not what somebody told you. Just make sure they're your own. So next is your monster depends upon your perspective. In this country, we have monsters, and in England and European countries, we're so afraid of bats because somebody wrote a book a long time ago about vampires turning into bats. And so bats are really very beneficial to us. They are wonderful creatures. They're mammals. They feed their young. But if we didn't have bats, we wouldn't be able to walk outside for the mosquitoes because that's what they feed on. So they come out at night and they actually add to the environment. And so, but guess what? Most of us have this fear that, he's going to fly in my hair or, bat's going to get me. But that's not a reality. But it was a monster that was created from a book that was written. Look at Frankenstein. There's a monster for you. But we think, he was made from different body parts from different bodies. But guess what? That's unfolded now. We have people that have heart transplants. We have people that have now hand transplants. So what are we calling them, Frankensteins? No, but it was a monster that actually came to fruition in our lives. It became something that we can create a new heart or give somebody a new life through a new heart. So all of those things that we think about, all of those things that have been taught, that have been conceived of in the past, it's really weird because when it becomes part of our thinking, it becomes part of our life. That's the main thing to take away from that. So your perspective is from where you stand. I'll just tell you a little story, a cultural story. I learned this in a philosophy class I took quite a while ago. But there were 2 tribes of people. They lived on separate islands. And one tribe, whenever somebody passed away or transitioned, they would bury them. And on the other island, when they passed away, they would eat them. Now, the people on the island where they buried them thought, oh my gosh, that is absolutely horrible. How could you possibly do that? That is just awful. But the people on the island where they ate their dead, they felt like by eating the dead, they brought their spirit and they brought their teachings and their knowledge into their bodies. And they thought, how awful that you just take this person that was so fundamentally important in your life and you just bury him in the dirt to rot? That's horrible. How could you possibly do that? So if you're looking at, I know that's a little graphic for Sunday, but it was just such a profound thing for me because it made me realize that when I'm looking at somebody that I perceive to be an enemy of our country or an enemy of this or an enemy of that, I'm not looking at it from their perspective. I'm looking at it from my own, and I'm making a judgment call. I'm judging them according to my beliefs. nobody likes to be judged by somebody else's belief. Really and truly, it's one of the worst things you can do, I think, is that you're putting your thoughts, your beliefs on somebody else. And that's why I love this country so much, too, is that we do have the freedom to believe what we want to believe. The other story is another monster, is when I went to Bhutan. I actually visited, it's a Buddhist country, and traveled around and went to a lot of monasteries, and it was with the spiritual center from Palm Desert. As a matter of fact, it's a trip that about 21 of us from that center went on this trip. And we went to this one valley where it was the Valley of the Mad Monk. There was the story goes that the monk, there was a female spirit demon that was terrorizing all the men in the valley. They were terrorizing so that the men were just afraid to even go to work or do anything because they were totally terrorized by this female spirit. So the monk decided he had to do something about this. So he went and he laid in the middle of the road and pretended he was dead, but he had his sword right next to him. And he's laying there, and then the female spirit was like, why is he not moving? Why isn't he afraid of me? What's going on? So she got closer and closer and closer, and he suddenly jumped up with his sword, and he started chasing her, and he chased her, and he chased her, and chased her until she went down into a well, and he capped it. He put the capstone on. Well, once in Bhutan, once a demon spirit is captured, they become a benign spirit. So then all of the crops, everything in the whole valley started flourishing. Everything started changing because the monk had captured this female spirit. But isn't that kind of what we do too? We let these demons just terrorize us and follow us around and just think about, oh my goodness, they're going to get me, or they're causing all this havoc in my life. It's something outside of me. When all you have to do is capture it and contain it, and it's no longer causing you any pain. It's actually flourishing because you took that power from within you and turned it into something that is able to make your life a better place. Do you ever think about that? We have to recognize a monster for what it is. So if you're from a perspective and you've got this belief about your monster, so then it elicits a lot of feelings. A lot of your feelings are just driven by this monster. The monster's driving you instead of you containing the monster. So one of the things that I just recently learned was we hardwire our brains. And something that happened in the past, the more you think about it, the more it becomes hardwired into your physiology. So that you start, every time you go to a bad place or something that doesn't turn out like you expected it to, you'll go straight to that hardwired thought. Well, this happened to me, and that's why my life is like this. This is what I believe, so that's why my life is like this. But so by continuing to think about it, it's no longer in the past. It's in the present. Did you ever think that when you're thinking about something that happened in the past, when you think about it now, you bring it into the present. So you keep recreating the same pain, the same struggle, the same hurt over and over and over again. So what it basically comes down to is those feelings are actually fear. And that's your greatest enemy. That is the biggest monster, is fear. So you feel like when you're in that place of fear, you feel like you've lost control. But the truth of it is the fear is coming from within, not from without. It's something within you that you are responsible for, that you have created or allowed that fear to come into your life and to take over who you are. And there's no reason for that. But, most hurt feelings is what anger is based on. Hurt feelings creates anger because we have that fight or flight response. Either we'll get our feelings hurt and we'll cry and go into the corner, or we'll get our feelings hurt and we'll get angry and we're ready to fight. So you look at that, and that is a total physiology response. But we forget we have a spiritual core. We are spiritual beings. Nothing that happens in our body, nothing that happens in our mind affects that spirit. It is always good. It is always powerful. It's just our choice to use it the way we want to use it, because that's the other beauty of this existence, is that we have volition. We have the power to change our lives in any way we want to. We can change in a flash, that quick. But it's just to making that decision to let go of a belief, to change your perspective, to let go of those feelings and not elicit that emotional response to our monster. So you say, oh yeah, sounds good on paper. Sounds good when you're speaking it, but the truth is, how can I possibly change? I've always believed this. I've always thought this. This monster's been with me for years. How am I supposed to just automatically just change it? Ernest Holmes said it best. Change your thinking, change your life. And it's that easy to change your thinking. Change your thinking around something. Holmes said, it's as simple as this. Think about changing it until it becomes as natural as walking and talking. Think about how you want to appear in your life, how life is not coming at you, but coming from you, that you're a reflection of your life. Whatever's going on within you is happening outside of you. There's nothing outside of you controlling you. You know, I used to have a friend that was a fundamental Christian. She called me up one day and she said, oh, I've had the worst week. The devil's been chasing me all week long. And I was like, I just immediately went in my head to this guy in a red suit with the horns and the tail with a pitchfork running around behind her all week, chasing her all week long. And I almost burst out laughing when, I shouldn't have felt that way. I should have understood what she was saying, but it was hilarious. So if you think about it, life that you're perceiving is just a mirror, a reflection of what you are and what you believe and what you're feeling. You just need to think about removing the power from the monster. And you can do that through free will. It sounds so simple, just like Holmes said. And it really is, but we just get so tied up in but, I've always felt like this. Oh, this is always how it's been. So part of the way to do it is to create a garden in your mind. So when you're in gardening, you don't leave the weeds, you rip those suckers out, right? Then you plant something new, something fresh and beautiful. That's exactly what you just replace it. It's not that you have to get rid of it, you just replace it. Life is an inside job. That's it. It's all within us. Do you feel at times that life is coming at you? Well, it is, because you're bringing it to you. You're drawing it. You're attracting it. Whatever you're thinking, you're attracting. And I know we can say that in so many different ways, and that's part of what Ernest Holmes did. It's a very basic, simple teaching, but he wrote this book this thick to teach us in different ways and different ideas how to change your thinking around something. And he did it very, very well. And, he even says at the beginning of the Science of Mind book, in the first paragraph, he says, this is a culmination of philosophies. This wasn't original from Holmes, but he was so studied in this, and he really looked at it, that he realized this is ancient philosophy. We have always known this truth. We've just never really took the time to really look at it and understand that it's always been like this, that we've always had that freedom. So, back to monsters. There's no evil in nature. Have you ever met an evil tree? an evil plant, an evil animal. People say, oh, well, I've seen orcas eat baby seals. And I go, yeah, but that is instinct. They're just feeding. That's just food. But the only place you find evil, if you want to define it, that there is such an evil, is in the heart of man. So to me, evil and the monsters are just people that have a good excuse for bad behavior. That's all evil is. Just a good excuse to say, I can do whatever I want because, it's evil. The devil made me do it. Remember Flip Wilson and Geraldine? The devil made me do it. I just love that guy. But, that's been our excuse for a long time. I have no control. I'm this little puppet that evil's just driving me and pulling me this way and that way. I have no control over what's going on in my life. I'm sorry to tell you. Bad news. That's not true. You're the one that's creating it. It's just like, so, our monsters are ours, right? So let's talk about the care and feeding of your monster. How often are you feeding your monster? Are you keeping him alive and well? Or are you just letting him kind of wither away there? But are you caring for that monster? I mean, is that hurt place that whenever something goes wrong in your life, you automatically go to it, say, this is why, because this, and this happened. That's not the truth. So every time you think about it, like I just said, you're feeding your monster. Do you really want it to have that much control and power over your thinking? Why not let that spiritual truth that's within you instead be what drives you, that keeps you in that line, that keeps you in pace with what's going on in your life? That you stop and think about this. Your words are prayers. Your words are prayers, but so are your thoughts. That's scary, isn't it? Especially me, because I have a tendency to get frustrated on the road. I admit it. I get behind a tractor and I'm like, no, please turn, please turn, please turn. But that's where I recognized that for 3 days last week, I got on the road the first day, going to work. I got behind a big, giant semi-truck trying to drive down 47, like this. And he was doing 30 miles an hour. I was so irritated. I admit it. I was. So I thought the second day, surely that won't happen again. I won't get behind a trailer. Well, the universe doesn't recognize negatives. I will get behind a trailer. Guess what? I got behind a trailer again, doing 40 this time. I was so excited. It was 40. So Saturday morning, I thought, okay, today it's not going to be that busy because, the people aren't working. They're driving the semis. They're usually off on weekends. I was thinking this through. So guess what I got behind this time? A giant tractor that was so wide I couldn't go around it. And he was doing 20. So that's when I came to realize, guess who attracted all this stuff? Guess who did this? I did it. I did it with my thinking, by setting myself up before I even got on the road thinking, don't let this happen again. Let this happen again. So today, guess what? I didn't even think about it. I drove straight here in record time. It was perfect. It was beautiful. It's just a reflection of my thinking that created that for me. So have you fed your monster today? Are you going to go home and feed your monster? Are you going to let your monster go free? It's time for him to run wild. So the other thing that I would like to leave you with is we have volition. We get to choose. I can't say that enough. It's the freedom. It's the freedom that we're celebrating this weekend, but it's the freedom that Spirit, that eternal power that has put within us, that gives us the ability to think freely, to be free, if we can just let go of the chains and the walls that we built in order to keep our monster safe. Because that's what we're doing. When we're doing when we're thinking about it, when we're living it, we're just keeping our monsters nice and safe. So the other thing is that if you think about, just to leave you on this with, our monster in this country or European countries, a lot of it is that we have the devil. The one that controls our lives. We were taught that in church. Some of us in younger ages, younger years, that if you didn't do, the devil is going to come after you, or God's going to let the devil come after you. And I was like, wow, that's some parent, they're going to let the devil chase me around. That's awful. But there really is no evil. Because to have evil, a separate power from this power that we know is the truth, would diminish it, and it would no longer be eternal. It would be split in two. And I don't know about you, but I think that 95% of the parents only want good for their children. And that's why I think that growing up what I did with the concept of evil, it was like, if you don't do the right thing, then God is going to let the devil loose on you, and then he's going to strike you down. But he does love you. And you're like, is God schizophrenic? Because, 1 minute he loves me, the next minute he's going to take me out. So it's kind of scary, And that's why I think that, like Shannon said, when I walked into the spiritual center for the first time, I knew I was home. I knew this was the place. Just from the very first talk I heard by Joe Hooper, I just could not. He used to tease me a lot. For the first 6 months I went there, he said I cried every Sunday, and I know I did. I know I did. And my program was covered with writings. I wanted to capture every word he said because it resonated so much within me. And so I'm just hoping that not hoping, but I'm knowing in this moment that you're ready to set your monsters free. Whatever they are, however they're appearing in your life, let them go. Namaste.
Thank you, Cheryl.
So we're just going to let this gal go free. So Cheryl, why do you wake up unreasonably happy every day?
Well, somebody said to me once, you wake up happy every day? For what reason? I said, I don't really have a reason. I just wake up feeling positive and happy, so I guess I'm unreasonably happy. So it's just how it came about. So
Thank you, Cheryl. This
You're
is
welcome. Thank you, Shannon.
Let's invite Cheryl
Thanks,
back again,
Shannon.
okay? And now we have some more special music.
All right, this is a song that I assume many of you will know. You are welcome to sing along if you'd like. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see. Thank you. Thanks for singing with me.
Oh, cool. Look at the guys coming up.
We're coming out to dance, the more music.
Can you share your thoughts about the offering, Reverend Don?
Yes, we can do that. We're going to have, I think Michelle is here, and is Shannon here? Oh, the monster, oh. Can you help with that? Okay.
So, I got a 3-for-1 sale. So, should I keep it on for would it scare the money out of your wallet?
We'll use anything. Trust me, she's just a monster wannabe.
Are you guys gonna? I'll walk.
Yes, yes.
That's okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So good.
Okay. All right. Are we ready?
Aren't we glad that we have Cheryl?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to do, yeah, Reverend Martin, you can help us with this. Can you do this offering with Reverend Michelle?
We're gonna have an offering.
I like cats, by the way, so this is why I picked this. It's feline? Yeah, you feeling the mood. I'm feeling the mood. Okay, good.
All right. At this time, we've received a wonderful message this morning. We've received the blessing of love and care from everyone here. And we share this goodness all the time. We're aware of it, and especially on Sunday mornings. So let's give back to this. Let's support this wonderful love, this message of truth, by starting off with our offertory blessing in the program. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate.
I am grateful. I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful. I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful. I am grateful for abundance in my life. I am grateful. I am grateful for abundance in my life.
It is with joy in our hearts that we receive the gifts of the morning, that we accept the goodness that flows to us so naturally in the universe, that supports us in our living, in our awareness, in our love, and our joy. So with great joy, let us know the truth. We are free to choose who and what we will be by the power of our beliefs. And so it is.
That's so it is.
So join me now in the prayer of protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let's stand and sing our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. excited about living with monsters.